This is the Weigh-In Podcast by Benoit Chestnut and normally Sebastian Romero. But as I always say, we will get back to our regularly scheduled programs soon. So to bring to you this week's episode, we talk about Jaron and his boots and that UFC 314. If you missed it, we're going to get you caught up. So, to jump into that UFC 314, we'll save my boy Jerron and his boots for last. Let's get into talking about UFC 314. So one of the greatest storylines at UFC 314, which I thought was actually really good. So if we're gonna talk about that UFC 314, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So if we're going to talk about UFC 314, when we break this down, first of all, if there's one word to say, Patty Pemlet. Patty Pemlet. Patty Pemlet sure showed that he is the guy of the weight class right now. And I already going in knew that Patty Pemlet was going to do what I thought he was going to do. And now that makes it even better. Patty Pemlet is your guy that is sure to have taken over where he is. And it's just absolutely crazy to see Patty Pemlet do what he was going to do, And I have a question, and you guys are gonna feel this question because you know what's coming on as the weigh-in always comes up with something interesting. Okay, so Michael Chandler was supposed to fight Conor McGregor. Would Conor have knocked out Michael Chandler? That would be an interesting point. But you talk about this where you say, okay, Volkanovski won, you know, as you know, Diego Lopez spent some time training in Cowboy RTC, which is the Oklahoma State University Cowboys. So, you'd have to say, I knew that Volkanovski was probably more than likely going to win, but, part of me wanted that Diego to win. Now, Rodriguez also was able to take over the weight. So we look at some of these results here. You look at this and, I'm not surprised by these outcomes. I'm not surprised Patty Pemlet won. I'm not surprised that Rodriguez won. And, I just knew that there was going to be some things done. I knew that it was going to be interesting, and I knew that what needed to get done was going to get done. The one thing I look at here is what's next. Looking ahead, there's UFC 315, which will probably look really good. You know, after that, we have UFC Fight Night with Blanchfield, which will be nice. That'll be pretty good. We have UFC 316. That'll have Sean O'Malley, and that's going to take place June 7th. So when you really look at what's ahead, the scheduling ahead, you look at UFC 314, and I mean, you look at UFC 314 and what happened, and you say, wow, we've got some exciting things to come on that UFC side, that will not disappoint. Really good things that are going to come out and really good things that are going to take place. And you decide you can't be disappointed with that. And on that, you really just can't be disappointed. And I feel that in a need where it's like, okay, you can't be disappointed. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be the top of the totem. What's left is going to surprise us, but we cannot upset with what's going to go down because it's going to get good. It's going to get good. It's going to get absolutely amazing, more than anybody ever would think that we would ever think would happen here. It's going to get really good with all going on and with everything going through with UFC right now. It's gonna get really amazing. You know, do we see Alexander Volkanovski becoming a champ? I think it's very well. It's possible for Volk. It's very possible for Volkanovski. I don't think there's any outcome where he doesn't become a champ. I think it's very possible. It's going to be easy. I'm saying depending on how who's got the belt and how it may line up, it could end up being an easy fight for him, or it could not be. You don't know what's going to happen. But seeing Volkanovski as a champ again is, that's really good for him. Really good for him. That you just there's no rhyme or reason to be disappointed with that outcome. And I just think that it's like, it's just real crazy. I'm just very happy with the outcome, and I just think that was a good event. It was a money's worth event, and I think that the fight was worth it. I think that there's nothing better than that event there. I think that there was a lot of things, and when I look at the event, and when you look at UFC, and you look at a lot of what goes on and what is going on, and all of that is that has gone on, you say that Volkanovski was a good event, and that's why I say it was a great event. It was really good, and that's why I'm looking and saying, UFC has done a killer lineup with that Volkanovski, and that was what a good lineup with the fight, and everything was just so amazing, and that's why I'm saying, like, you line them up like that, where you're giving guys who used to have belts a chance. Things are going to get better. Things are going to get different. I look at that and I say, this is what's going to happen. The UFC will get better in a sense, and it will get as an organization, it will go up in ways that we will never felt it could. And I think when we really talk about that, that's something that's really great. And I know now, if we go ahead and and you pull over that and you talk about how UFC has changed as an individual, you know, and when you say things like that, now when we go in and we talk about this Duran in his boots, Duran in his boots did exactly what I felt he was going to do. There was no difference to what was going on, and I knew he was going to go in there and do what he had to do. Ennis, if you don't know, he quit on the stool. Now, he didn't physically quit. I'll explain what happened. You know, he was on the stool, and his team kind of said, you want to keep going, and they felt he didn't want to keep going. But whether his team did it, whether he did it, quit on the stool. When you look at my guy, Gerard Ennis Boots, um, really great guy. It just wasn't. I don't think Stanionis was running. You know, a really great guy, and there's not much you could ever say about that. Duran and his boots came in and wanted to do exactly what he did. So, with that being said, with Duran and his boots doing exactly what I thought, and with that being said, I really thought that Gerard was going to go in there and do exactly what he did. And because he did exactly what I thought he was going to do, I'm not surprised. You know, I'm not in any way, surprised at an outcome with Gerard in his boots, because I knew he was going to go in there and do what he did. How long it was going to take is was up to him, but everything else was not. So he was, in that fight. Let me break it down for you. He's the IBF, the WBA, and the Ring Magazine was on the line. So now he is the IBF and the WBA and the Ring Magazine champion. So now we talk about this. You know how it is. You know how it is. The distinction to want to be undisputed. So now let's go ahead. I'm gonna do what I always do for you guys. I'm gonna pull up that boxing rank, that boxing ranking for you. I'm gonna pull it up for you. I'm gonna pull it up for you. I'm gonna tell you why, because we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this. And you know what? We're gonna talk about the upcoming boxing too, because there's some good stuff. There is some good stuff. There's some good stuff coming. There's some good stuff coming. There's some good stuff coming. Good stuff coming. Okay. So I'm at that welterweight, 147 pound. Let's get that out of the way. So you got Jerron in his boots with that IBF. You got Jerron in his boots with that WBA. Now, what's coming is now we're gonna see Mario Barrios and Boots. That's gonna be good. Then he's gonna have to get Norman Jr. So that's gonna look good. So when you look at this, I understand the number one at welterweight right now is Devin Haney for the WBC, but no, man. No, let me tell you right here, right now. Let me tell you how it is. I don't think Jerron and his boots, you know, and Devin Haney is gonna go like you think. Devin Haney's not gonna beat no Jerron and his boots. And I'm gonna tell you that right here. The way Boots after this weekend seeing Jerron and his boots fight, I know Jerron and his boots is going to beat Devin Haney. There is no way Devin Haney in any shape can be ready for Jerron and his boots. So you can go ahead and get yourself that WBC. Go ahead and get yourself the WBC. But just understand, you know, Jerron and his boots is coming for you. So you don't stand in the way because you're gonna get beat. And let me tell you, I don't care who you line up for Boots. After this weekend, we learned that Boots is the real deal. I already knew that. But for any people and fans of Boots that had any doubts, we got rid of that this weekend. He got rid of that this weekend. Jerron and his Boots took care of what he had to do. So when we go ahead and we're going to bring up a boxing schedule for the next couple months, because you know what? I got another guy that's about to get his torsos beat, and that's that William Skull. He's going to be fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez, and I don't think he got it. Canelo going to get you. Canelo's going to get him. And after that, Canelo, don't run from it. I want to see David Benavidez schedule. Don't run from it. Schedule Benavidez. Don't run. Schedule it. Don't run. Schedule it. And if not, like we talked about before, then keep up that Terrence Crawford then. Either way, I want Benavidez or Crawford. I don't want to see nothing else not scheduled. And I'm pretty sure if we get some check on this for this Canelo and the boxing schedule. So when we take a look, Canelo Crawford's happening. Great. Now, so we can take that out. But okay, we need Canelo Benavidez. Like, come on, how long we gotta wait for Benavidez? So let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look with this box sketch. You know what? Let's get a boxing sketch going. Let's get a box. Let me get up a good boxing schedule for y'all because we're gonna go over this. Yeah, ESPN got us. ESPN got us. Good, good, good. Yeah. Okay. Boots in Atlantic City. We just had that. Let's go. Congrats to Boots. Okay, we got April 26th. Chris Ebank Jr. versus Corner Ben. That might be. But what we're looking for is that May 2nd. It ain't there yet, but it's coming. That Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, and then I believe Devin Haney's also on that card. And then in the Riot season, so listen. We're gonna have a good fight schedule for you. It's gonna be a good 24 hours. May 2nd, we got New York City. Don't forget. That's Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, and Devin Haney also on that card. In a minute, I'm gonna get you who's fighting. May 3rd, don't forget, May 3rd is Canelo versus William Skull. That undisputed fight. So you're going to have to keep up with that. We got May 2nd and May 3rd. You're going to have to get both those cards, but don't worry. We're going to break them both down for you. And when we get closer, we're going to let you know both of them. Don't worry. Don't worry. And then, they have a title fight May 4th, but I'm looking at these names and I don't know how, big, but listen, just because the names aren't big, those fights always be real good. So then after that, you got May 10th. And then we've got, I'm waiting for this one. July 11th, we got Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Man, I'm waiting for that. Because those fights, every time they fight, it brings the energy. So when that comes, whoo, that's going to be a good fight. I don't even care what the rest of the card look like. I'll be waiting for that main event. That's a card where I say you got some up and comers, you line them up on that. Because everybody gonna want to see that. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. This is gonna be good. Amanda Serrano. Does Amanda have the? Is Amanda gonna get it this time? You know, Depends on who you ask. You ask Jake Paul, he's probably gonna say yes, she got it this time. If you ask the weigh-in, if she fights this fight differently, she got it this time. So there's a lot of that. Let me see if I can get you an update on that card in May. Yep. So we got Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, 12 rounds for the junior welterweight. And we got for Timo Lopez Jr. versus Arnold Bajas on the same night. Okay, so that May 2nd's looking good. Okay. Now let me get you that May 3rd, just so we know. Jaime Monguia, now that's gonna look good, versus Bruno Surface. Sir Race. And for 10 rounds, that's the super middleweight. We got Martin Bocolo versus Alpha Javaba for 10 rounds, in heavyweight. Again, in advance, I apologize for the mispronunciation of these names. Oh, hold up. That May 4th. The main event, I don't know the guys, but Rafa Espinosa and Edward Vasquez is going to fight for the featherweight, the WBO. So that May 4th look good too. This is going to be good. You feel me? This is going to be good. Some good to eat. Oh, this is going to be real good. I'm telling you, this is going to be good. Man. And the way Boots did what he had to do, oh my God. That can't go any other way. You know, April 18th, they got an Orlando, Florida card. That looks nice, man. Some good stuff. I don't think there's any belts down. No, there's no belts down on that card, but pretty legit. But the work to talk about right here. My man drawing his boots. He gonna undisputed. There ain't no story. There ain't no shame about that. He gonna undisputed, and I believe it too. I believe it too. I believe it too. I believe it too. He gonna undisputed. I'm gonna tell you why too, because he hungry for it and he want it. But when you want something so that bad, you gonna get it. Because if you want it, you gonna get it, and that's nothing to be said. As we talked about that, as we talked about, quitting on the stool is the one thing we just talked about. Quitting on the stool. When your team has to step in and stop a fight, it's done. It's done. It's done. Boots had a good fight, and I'm proud of the result that happened with Boots. But to see his team, I mean, to see Stanionis' team ended in the corner, it was only a matter of time before Boots did what he had to do. It was only a matter of time. And when you look at stuff like that, it's only a matter of time before Boots did what he had to do. Only a matter of time. Not much more I could say there. Only a matter of time because he was really into what he was doing, and he was breaking them down. He was walking them down. You know, as we like to say in the boxing, he was breaking them down round by round. I always say that they breaking them down. He breaking them down round by round. You know, he was breaking them down round by round, low key. And I don't think he was gonna get stopped. You feel me? I don't think it was gonna happen at all. I'm sitting here saying I don't think that was gonna happen. They might have thought they wanted to beat him, but it wasn't gonna happen. Let me tell you, that wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't gonna happen because the way Boots went in there, you know, fully with the understanding that he wanted to win, that he was not gonna let any other verdict stop it. He wanted to come out there victorious, and that's exactly what he did. You know, when you look at Boots, that's exactly what he did. I can't even compete with you. That's exactly what Boots went in there to do, and that's exactly what he did too. And he came out on top doing it. You don't see too many guys want to snatch up them belts, but your Boots, he want to snatch them up, and he gonna be undisputed too. I don't think Devin Haney's ever gonna beat him. I don't think. I don't even think Ryan Garcia, if they put him up against him, would beat him. Nah, I don't believe that. if if Devin Haney doesn't get his IBF before Boots snatch it, I'm sorry. Then you just ain't ever gonna have it because Boots, the way Boots box, he know. He know what he down for. He know what he want to do. He know what he gonna do. He know what he gonna do too. When you look at Boots is in it. He don't play around. I don't blame him either. He don't play with his food. Listen, he finished him in that ring on Saturday. He finished him. He finished him to the point where the team said, hey, "Listen, you can't go no more." That's the way you have to do your boxing stuff. We talk about one's best self coming out. Boots sure had his best self, and even if we go back to that UFC, Paddy Pimblett, he had his best self out there. So when you look at everybody's best self being out there, you talk about Paddy Pimblett had his best self. You talk about Dronis Boots had his best self. Like there was a lot of best selves out there. You feel me? A lot of best selves out there in the ring doing a lot of good stuff. So you look at when you look at that, you say, yeah, there was a lot of best selves out there. There wasn't too many of nobody not having, you know, their best self out because, there was a lot of best self out there doing, what they had to do, you know, and that is nothing but the truth there. When you put your best self out there, good things are gonna happen, When you put your best self, work gonna get done. Work gonna get done. People gonna get beat, faces are gonna get pounded in. There's no better way to say that. You know what I mean? Like there's no better way to say that. That Paddy Pimblett did what he needed to do at his best self. When you look at Duran and his Boots did exactly what he needed to. And I think that is very well good for for all the guys I wanted to win this weekend. Do what you had to do, and to take that away, and to win the way you're supposed to. We talk about we know, we know. That's good stuff. That's good stuff to be doing. To go there and have to do what you got to do. It just makes it makes me feel like guys is getting it done. As I always say, when we run this way in, we always try to keep up with the fight stuff. I understand lately we haven't kept up with that big boxing. We've been letting some fights sneak up on us, but this Boost didn't sneak up on us. Canelo's not sneaking up on us. That whole May 2nd to the 4th, not sneaking up on us, and this Amanda Soriano, and Katie Taylor, not sneaking up on us. I'm in my stuff. As you guys know, I kept up the streak from the beginning of the year. You know, um, most people do not keep up their New Year's resolution, but look at the weigh-in. We're 4 months in, and we're still posting. And if person asked me one question and said, will it ever stop? No, it will not. It will not. No, it will not. We will keep posting videos every week, and that'll probably never end. I'll keep going every week, posting videos every week for you guys, because at the end of the day, the that boxing news is good. It's tight. So, with that being said, guys, I would that is this week's episode. Um Mostly indefinitely, you're gonna see me on here for a little while, you know, till the partner is back. But till then, you guys are stuck with me, and we're gonna get as many episodes as we can out for you. I'm gonna get as many episodes as I can. My 2 a week for you guys, as I've previously done. This is the way in. Let's get it done. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we're gonna grow, but we're not gonna grow alone. We're gonna grow together. You know, that's the way we're gonna do it. So this is the way in. By Benoit Chestnut and normally Sebastian Romero, but we will return to our regularly scheduled program soon. Weighing out.
The way in where stories ignite.